The News Day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Former Senator Bongbong Marcos is now making rounds in Abra. It's also scheduled to visit Kalinga later today. To give us updates, we have Dale De Vera joining us on the line from Bangged in Abra. Dale, good morning. What is the latest there so far?
Charles, presidential candidate Bongbong Marcos returns to Abra, a part of his Solid North bailiwick for the Cordillera leg of the Uniteam campaign. Marcos Jr. came earlier than his running mate, Sara Duterte. He went around Bangged for the usual motorcade and the inauguration of the Uniteam headquarters here. Marcos Jr. said infrastructure is a priority for the province. This is the need for bridges and road repairs is seen to further develop Abra. The presidential candidate also said these projects will help boost tourism in Abra. Meanwhile, in an exclusive interview with Marcos Jr., he said the Oil Price Stabilization Fund, or OPSF, would have helped in the current situation where pump prices reached an all-time high for years. Marcos, however, admits that no one can control the prices of fuel, but what can be done is to mitigate its effects. Charles, after Abra, Marcos Jr. will be going to Kalinga as part of his two-province tour today. Charles?
Thanks for that, Dale. That was Dale De Vera reporting from Bangged, Abra. The DILG says they will respect the TRO issued by the Supreme Court against the COMELEC's Oplan Baklas. DILG Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya said they will advise all LGUs, the PNP, and other law enforcement entities to suspend all planned or ongoing Baklas activities nationwide. But Malaya said only the provisions covered by the SC resolution will be suspended. And these are the provisions covering campaign materials prepared and funded by private individuals and posted on private properties. The official also said that they will continue to implement other programs under Oplan Baklas that were not subject to the TRO. Senatorial candidate and labor lawyer Luke Espiritu describes as disgusting how rival Harry Roque is attempting to win votes through cheap tactics like dancing. Speaking on 1PH's Wag Po, Espiritu said candidates should focus on their platforms and their stand on certain issues instead of trying to win votes through dancing. He also believes that Roque will not be able to win votes through cheap tactics, noting that Filipino voters have now matured. Espiritu also defended his calling of rival Larry Gadon bastos or rude during the SMNI debates, saying this was justified as Gadon was interrupting him while he was speaking. Espiritu says it's also appropriate, recalling how Gadon had also been disrespectful of critics and of certain sectors in the past.
Talagang bagay sa kanya kasi bastos naman talaga siya sa labas sa loob ng walang ibang way to describe someone na misogynist na ginawa yun kay Raisa Robles na kung ano-anong pinagsasabi sa mga kapatid natin sa Bangsamoro, napapatayin niya daw pang bata, unbecoming. Tama lang na sinabi natin sa kanya yun. Hindi ko siya minura. Sinabi ko lang yung totoo.
Presidential candidate and Senator Manny Pacquiao is set to hold a motorcade in Tarlac before meeting with some local officials today. Joining us live from Tarlac City is Mon Gualvez. He's here to give us more details on this. Mon, good morning. Has the motorcade started yet?
Hi, Charles. So far, we are still waiting for presidential aspirant and Senator Manny Pacquiao to arrive here in Barangay San Rafael along MacArthur Highway. The motorcade that we are anticipating will kickstart Senator Pacquiao's series of activities both in Tarlac area as well as in one city in Pampanga for today. Charles.
Yeah, of course, Senator Pacquiao does gather a crowd wherever he goes. Could you tell us more about the traffic situation in the area? Marami na bang tao?
Well, again, Senator Pacquiao's motorcade here in MacArthur Highway hasn't started yet, but the traffic is already at a standstill. The motorcade is due to start at the Barangay Hall of San Rafael here in Tarlac City, and it will traverse the inner roads so he can get to talk and get up close and personal with the residents before he finishes in Tarlac City Hall. In terms of asking or answering the question on how many people are already on the ground, so far we are still not seeing a lot of people, unlike the other days wherein he visits other places as well. Charles.
Right, Mon, who are some of the local officials that Pacquiao is expected to meet with today?
Well, it will be a jam-packed day for Senator Manny Pacquiao, full of meetings and engagements. And as he is also set to have an executive lunch with Tarlac City Mayor Christy Angeles. Afterwards, he will proceed for a People's Assembly in Concepcion, Tarlac, care of their LGU head Mayor Harl King David. Then later tonight, he will be having an executive dinner with Mabalacat City Mayor Crisostomo Garbo. Charles.
Mon, I understand that Pacquiao is also set to meet with some of the local leaders, residents and leaders of sectoral groups. Could you tell us more about this?
Yeah, aside from the usual courtesy visit, Charles, to the local government, the Promdi presidential candidate will also be busy with dialogues, not just with the residents of Concepcion, Tarlac, but also with pastors of Mabalacat, Pampanga as well. And then Pacquiao is also due to talk to barangay officials and employers of the said areas, to whom he has earlier promised that he will extend their terms if in case he wins. Charles.
Thanks for those updates, Bon. That was Mon Gualvez reporting live from Tarlac City. Time now for the latest news on the Ukraine-Russia crisis. U.S. President Joe Biden is banning Russian oil and gas energy imports in retaliation to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Biden says this means that Russian oil will no longer be acceptable at U.S. ports. And the U.S. President warns this will result in the further increase of gas prices. But he also pointed out that this is the cost of standing up for freedom and standing alongside the Ukrainian people. McDonald's Corporation will temporarily close all 847 of its restaurants in Russia following Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. The corporation said they would continue to pay salaries to its 62,000 employees despite the closure. And Russians might also soon live without popular sodas Coca-Cola and Pepsi. This as both companies are suspending soda sales in all of Russia amid the ongoing Ukraine-Russia crisis. Although PepsiCo clarified that they will still continue to sell daily essentials such as milk and dairy products in Russia. More and more people are opting to bike to work amid the consecutive oil price hikes in the past weeks. Laila Panglinan with the story.
Hobby shop owner Jerome Supan has been biking more than 25 kilometers from Novaliches, Quezon City to get to his work in Makati. However, with a downgrade to Alert Level 1, Jerome noticed more vehicles out in the streets, which makes his routine more challenging.
Kung before, nakukuha ko siya ng 1 hour from sa amin hanggang Makati. Ngayon, naabot na ng 1 hour and 30 minutes.
More bikers are expected to ply EDSA in the coming days because of the increase of petroleum products. But the question is, how safe as a mode of alternate transportation is biking to work using EDSA?
The MMDA says biking in EDSA is safe as long as they use the bike lane and use safety gears like helmets. However, some of them compromise their safety, improvising on helmets just to save some money.
Inuna pa natin pangkain kaysa bumili tayo ng gamit para sa pangulo.
Marami po kasing nagsasabi na pwede po yung helmet ng pang-construction sa EDSA.
But some got lucky today after a group of Filipino-Chinese volunteers gave away helmets for free along EDSA.
500 pesos ang isang helmet. So malaking bagay yon sa pang-araw-araw na gastusin ng isang ordinary workers.
Aside from helmets, MMDA Traffic Chief Bong Nebriha reminds bikers to invest on other safety gear.
Sapatos, helmet, kung may gloves ka sana, ilaw, ito yung mga bagay na kailangan para kung inabutan ka ng gabi. Reflectorized vest.
For those biking during the night, the MMDA assured cyclists that the bike lanes are visible. However, for some bikers like Jerome, there is still room for improvement.
Sana yung ibang areas naman, ma-repaint na yung bike lane natin kasi since unang siguro yung iba hindi na gumagana yung mga lights natin sa line.
The MMDA vows to improve these bike lanes for the safety of cyclists. For News 5, Laila Pangilinan, we are One News.
And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.